Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, as promised earlier today, we're delighted to be joined in the studio by our guests. Of course, the renowned Lamia Khalid, the photographer who has had several exhibitions in several countries around the world, all documenting authentic Egypt. Lamia, thank you so much for coming in this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Inji. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you so much for coming. So, you're a photographer and you've had lots of exhibitions all around, but let's start from the very beginning. What was the first photograph you took? Do you remember?
Actually, to remember that, then I have to go back to my age when I was maybe 10 or 11 years old.
Okay.
Because this is all where it started, that I was so much fascinated about having my little camera, which was, of course, you know, there was the film inside, and you just go.
Those are lovely.
Beautiful.
I love those cameras.
Actually, it's so authentic and it's so beautiful. And even waiting to develop
print,
and to print, that was amazing.
Yeah.
So it started all when I was really young, and I found out that my passion and my talent goes very well by taking photos of my friends, of nature, of a garden, of anywhere I go. And I can't remember exactly the very first one, but definitely it was mainly either nature or friends or parties of friends or family and things like that.
Okay, so tell me, Lamia, when you started, of course, growing up, recognizing that this was more than a hobby, this was a talent and something you could really work on.
True.
What inspired you to continue in this field, and what kind of photography are you more interested in?
Okay, let's say I kept on taking photos, not in a professional level, but actually as a hobby, until I decided in 2010 to take a photography course, a professional photography course. And that was, let's say, the start of me realizing that I should go further with my passion and with my hobby into a higher scale or a better scale. So I took a course, and that was 2010, and it was the first time to buy my professional camera with all the lenses and all the equipments that you need to get a better quality photo. Talent got nothing to do with the equipment you're using, but actually what I'm saying is that if you are talented and you have a good equipment, it works fine.
Yeah, it helps, I'm sure.
Yes.
Right, so why did you choose to promote Egypt? Tell me, how did this come about? We were speaking earlier before we went on air, and you said you were contacted by someone who saw your photos and told you to come to Germany, was it, and start your exhibition. So tell me a bit more about this process.
Okay. This was a pure coincidence that I was so lucky and also grateful that it happened, because 2010 I took the course, and for a couple of years I was just taking photos all over Egypt. I travel and I take photos, and then I decided to do a photography page on Facebook, and I exhibited my photos
on social media. And actually, we're seeing now on the screen some of your photographs.
Yes, that was, for example, that's a photo from Fayoum, and that guy was a fisherman. During sunset, he was fishing. And that's, for example, one of my favorite areas, which is Nuba.
Okay,
Nuba is my favorite.
So you've been really all around the country.
Yes.
So it's not just the tourist areas or just the the usual places.
No, I don't like actually to go to very typical touristic areas. I like more to go around, and as you see, I love to take photos of people, Egyptian inhabitants or people around Egypt are very beautiful and special in each and every area. When you go to Nubia, you find features and how the costume is different than how you go to, for example, Siwa, or when you travel to go to Sinai, or even when you go to the local areas in Cairo, like Hussein area or Khan al-Khalili or Shari al-Mu'izz, because these places also got their own authentic
vibe. They really do.
And energy, and I love to come close to the people all over.
So when you take a photograph of someone, do you talk to them beforehand, or is it just random, you click and go?
Well,
how does it work?
Actually, to take a photo of a person, you have to start a little conversation in order to go on with a shooting. Otherwise, it will be either it will come out he will be posing in a way, or tensed, or not really giving me the impression I'm looking for, because every time I'm taking a photo of a person, I need to get a certain impression or look. I want to get what's behind the face, not only the features, but what's behind the features.
Right, so let's go back to your first exhibitions. He contacted you, saw your photos on social media, and gave you a call.
He was a German journalist and also script writer and TV moderator. He was cruising the net, and he saw my photos on my photography page, and he decided to contact me. And he contacted me, and he said, I love your photos, they are very natural, and I am offering you to do an exhibition in Kassel, which is the city where most of the exhibitions and art is held. Held, and it's very well known that Kassel is the place of art in Germany.
All right.
And I took the risk, and I said, well, I never did that before, but at that time, and that's important, at that time it was right after the revolution. It was in 2015, and tourism was not at its best scale, and I wanted so much to help with my own way to promote tourism back to Egypt through my photography, and I thought that would be the golden opportunity that I didn't want to miss at all.
Absolutely.
And I decided, okay, I'll take it, and I printed my photos, took the flight, shipped the pictures through cargo, and I just arrived to Germany. He sponsored the gallery and the accommodation, and he made all the, of course, the preparation to promote the place or the exhibition in Kassel, and it was a great success.
So tell me, you obviously interacted with people that came to take a look at your work, etc.
Yes.
What were their impressions? What in general are their impressions of Egypt? Especially, you said this was after the revolution, a very critical time really in Egyptian history. How did they perceive your work? How did they perceive you? How did they perceive the events that happened? Were they still keen to come visit? Tell me, what were they interested in?
Okay, first of all, I was exhibiting Egypt. I'm not exhibiting a country where nobody knows about it. So I'm not representing Lamia the photographer only, I'm representing Egypt, the history and the culture and the traditions and the reputation all around the world. So the people were like kind of thirsty to come and see, especially after the revolution, and that they were really kind of hesitant or scared to come visit. So mainly when they came, they looked at the pictures, because I was doing my exhibitions in Germany or in Austria or in Paris, doing a mixture between the place and the face. So that's why I called my exhibition Faces and Places from Egypt. And I wanted to introduce to them Egypt in a different point of view, not only the traditional photos you find in the touristic books. So they were amazed. Of course, I was asked a lot of questions during the interviews or even the TV interview in Germany or the press about how's the situation? Is it dangerous to come visit Egypt? How is it stable? Is it dangerous? And so on and so on. And they were so much interested to find out that an Egyptian with a woman photographer coming from Egypt exhibiting, and they were very much keen to ask about each and every photo I am exhibiting at Kassel exhibition. And the press wrote something that I will always be very proud when they said, Lamia Khalil, the photographer, is a photographer who's taking photos with her heart and not with her own eyes. And that means that the love and my feelings and emotions towards Egypt came through my work.
Absolutely.
And I am very much grateful that this was the critics, except also there was a lot of people intending at that time. They said, okay, we want to come, we want to visit Egypt, we want to see these places. They were interested about Fayoum, about Siwa, about Sinai.
The less advertised areas.
Exactly. And then it went on after that, when I came back. Actually, the exhibition was supposed to be for 15 days in Kassel, but the responsible over there and the owner of the gallery decided to extend it to 1 month.
Okay.
I came back to Egypt, and then the ambassador in Germany, our Egyptian ambassador in Berlin, heard about my exhibition, and he contacted me, and he decided to move the exhibition to Berlin.
Wow.
Yes.
And then you also had several other areas
Yes.
besides Berlin.
Yeah,
You went
and
to
after that, the Ministry of Culture, actually, they decided to sponsor my trip to Vienna, and also by the help of the advisor, or let's say the consultant of culture in Berlin. And I moved to Vienna. And after Vienna, I moved to Paris.
Was this all the same photographs, all the same exhibit, or did you
actually
add on to it?
It was at the very beginning in Kassel. It was originally 55 photos, and before leaving Kassel, it was like so many pictures were sold, and I reprinted new ones. But all it was about the same theme, which is faces and places from Egypt. And actually, in Vienna, it was the same success, also in Paris. So it was absolutely beautiful, not only because the pictures are beautiful, it's because our country is so beautiful.
And it's amazing how it all worked out, and also the Ministry of Culture took interest and played a role, promoting as well, in an indirect way, tourism.
Exactly. Because by doing that, the number of people visiting the exhibitions in 3 different countries, they were all very much interested, not only to see the photos. My main target was that I got a lot of promises that these people are coming to visit. And I used to go through the exhibition, and I would go to the map and show them
this is where that was,
yes, exactly where these photos were taken, and how beautiful Egypt is, not only the pyramids and the temples and the
usual spots.
The usual spots.
And you were saying that people were very interested in contemporary Egypt, you know, life in Egypt on a day-to-day basis, how people are, they were more interested to see that side.
There's one part in photography, which is street photography, where you can really take shots of the daily life of the Egyptians. Or let's say when you go, for example, to Siwa, I can take photos of the nature, but at the same time, I was very keen to take photos of the people and how they are dressing up, the features, the jewelry, how you can differentiate between a costume in Sinai and a costume in Siwa, or in south of Egypt, Aswan or Nubia, which is one of my favorite areas in Egypt, actually. So yes, they were very much interested to get to know us.
As we are.
As we are, yes.
I'm afraid we've run out of time, and so quickly. I'd like to thank you very, very much, Lamia Khalid, the photographer. Thank you so much for coming.
It was my great pleasure.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have for today's edition. We do hope you have enjoyed it. You're in the company of myself, Angie Meher. Many thanks for watching.